right, gentlemen of the league, welcome to the first ever Dan's Weekly Recap. I know that I missed the first week, didn't have my shit together quite, but I got one done this week, and hopefully we will continue to have them for the rest of the season. So, all right, let's just jump right into it. Matchup between Shy and Eric. Shy won pretty handedly. Very solid performance by Shy's team across the board. Everybody in double digits except his kicker and his defense. Kerryon Johnson and DJ Moore put up some big points for him. Eric, on the other hand, was a pretty sparse outing at only 80 points total. Really bad performance from Christian McCaffrey. It's pretty uncharacteristic for him. Wouldn't expect to see many more performances like that from Christian McCaffrey. He also had Michael Gallup, who had 12.8 points, left the game with an injury, and hopefully we'll be back in 3 or 4 weeks with that meniscus. I think it's not a tear, but I think they're cleaning it out. So that was that game. Let's go to the next one. We had Burt versus Blaine. This was a pretty close game. I wasn't expecting it to be as close as it was. 106 for Blaine and 93 for Burt. Blaine had a really good performance out of Saquon, like you would expect. Matt Ryan in there at 19 points, doing well. Amari Cooper with 14, also pretty nice as well. Blaine has a very solid team. I would not expect anything but double digits from most of his players. On the other hand, Burt had Cam Newton. He looks bad. I don't know how much longer he's going to be out there, but 11.3 points for Cam. Julio Jones lit it up with 27.6, but that was not enough because Robert Woods and Vernon Davis combined for only 12 points. All right, over to Tristan versus Jack. We got Tristan at 131 and Jack at 118, so this was a very close game, and Tristan just edging it out with about 13 points there. Tom Brady, huge game, 24.7. Also Tyler Boyd with 22 and Travis Kelce with 23. Got a straight 0 from Tevin Coleman, who I guess he played injured. Tristan, you got to pay attention to your lineups, man. And he still put up 131. So, honestly, extremely impressive performance by Tristan's team, putting up 131 points and basically playing a scratch player. On the other hand, Jack's team still put up some good numbers, but it wasn't quite enough. Jared Goff had 19, Nick Chubb had almost 20, Thielen with 12.5, T.Y. Hilton with 14. The Patriots defense, though, which I think is the biggest story of the week, put up 35 points, which was incredible. You know, sometimes you just can't argue with the Patriots, and you really can't argue with playing against Miami. If you pick a defense against Miami, probably going to do well. All right, up next we got Hasley versus Scott. This was also a fairly close game. Hasley won by 20 points, 133 to 113. Pretty good outing by both teams. Patrick Mahomes putting up crazy numbers. I mean, 31.6 fantasy points for a quarterback. That's just outrageous. Ezekiel Elliott, just steady, 20 points. Duke Johnson, 3.1. That is not going to cut it. And a performance out of Anthony Miller for 1.2, that's not going to cut it either. You're going to have to look at your bench and make some upgrades there, Scott. On the other hand, Hasley had Dak putting up 27 points, also amazing for a QB. Michael Thomas, always going to be solid. Although, now with Drew Brees out, Michael Thomas's value is declining big time. So that's going to be interesting to see how Thomas does the rest of the year. But he put up 18.9 this game. Huge games out of Vance McDonald and Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler is the #1 fantasy running back right now, points-wise. We'll see how the Melvin Gordon situation plays out. That could all change drastically. But for now, it doesn't look like Melvin Gordon is going back to the Chargers. And Austin Eckler is on pace for record year. On to the next. We have Alec and Hunter Ray. And my gosh, dominant performance by Alec, 143 to 86.9. Ouch. Starting off hot, he had Lamar Jackson with 30 points. Big week for QBs this week. Then we had Todd Gurley at 15, Odell Beckham at 28. For Ray, he had Deshaun Watson at 12. Keenan Allen at 17. Chris Godwin had a great game at 26.1. But pretty mediocre performances from his tight end, Jarvis Landry, the Saints defense, and his kicker didn't get a single point. So his last 4 players combined for, 18 points? So that was pretty rough for him. Now, in the closest game of the week, which I guess there were some point corrections because I actually thought this game was closer, but at 129.9 to 125, it was myself versus Coy. The game came down absolutely to the wire. We were both watching it together in person, and had Le'Veon Bell not fumbled and the Jets not turned the ball over and he got another carry, Coy absolutely would have won that game. It was very contentious. It was pretty exciting, I will say. Coy had a nice performance from Le'Veon with 20.9. Would have been nicer without the fumble though. Brandon Cooks did well with 16.6. Metcalf with 15 points was nice. On the other hand, I had Derek Carr who put up a stinker at 9.7, but Dalvin Cook brought me back up with 28 points. Calvin Ridley had a great game at 24. I had a solid game out of Tyler Lockett. All right, so let's move on to some more fun stuff. I think I have some weekly awards that I'm giving out. So the first one is the bench botch job, and that is going to go to Scott for starting Anthony Miller over Kenny Golladay that he had just gotten in a trade. And the reason that I'm choosing Scott specifically is because Anthony Miller put up 1.2 and Kenny Golladay put up 25.7. Had Scott made that start, he would have won that game. Bench botch job, Scott. Gotta be better. Most points awards. It's a pretty simple, straightforward one. That's going to go to Alec. The highest score of the week with 143.3. The biggest loser award. This is actually not the award for the least points, but the award for the player with the greatest points differential. And that this week is unfortunately going to go to Team Ray Ray. And this week's sleeper pick, I am going to have to give that award to Alec for playing Terry McLaurin. Now, I will say he had a really good week the first week, but he's only owned in 60% of fantasy leagues, and right now he's the 12th best receiver as far as points. That's a sleeper. All right. Next up, we got the injury report. LaShawn McCoy, he's questionable next week. Drew Brees is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. David Johnson, wrist injury, is going to be questionable week 3. Roethlisberger out for the season. James Conner, questionable week 3. Sam Darnold, we all know he's got mono. He's out for a while. Gallup is going to have that meniscus repair. It's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Devin Singletary has a hamstring pull. He's questionable. And Damian Williams came out of the game. Right now, he's unknown. Tevin Coleman, Tristan, by the way, has a high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. All right. Next, I have the marquee matchup, and that is going to be between Hasley and Alec. And I guess I should have given the marquee matchup after I gave the standings, but Hasley is ranked number 1, and I have Alec at 4. All right, so the standings, I'll go through those real quick. Everybody knows what those are. In the East, we got Hasley number 1. I'm number 2. Alec number 3. Scott number 4. Ray 5. Coy coming up in the caboose. In the West, we got Blaine, Tristan, Shy, Eric, Jack, and Bert. And here, I think, is the most interesting part of it, is the power rankings. So the power rankings, this is a formula I created. It's pretty simple. It's just based off of points for, record, and points against. Points for and record having the same amount of weight, and points against having the least amount of weight. And after calculating the power rankings, it is a straight tie with Blaine and Hasley coming in tied for first place. Tristan coming in at second and not even playing people. We got me coming in at third. We got Alec at 4th, Shy at 5th, Scott at 6th, Eric and Coy at 7th, Hunter at 8, Jack at 9, and Bert at 10. All right, guys, that is all I got for today. So, let me know what you think, and good luck in week 3.